2, NXT Stand and Deliver. I'm about to rail this thing, so strap in, y'all. If you haven't watched it yet, there be spoilers. We start right off with Poppy. I don't know what that is, but it wasn't for me. Then we have the Cruiserweight Unification Ladder Match. Santos Escobar versus Jordan Devlin. So, right off the bat, they lost me. They started to do like a hockey fight. Neither one of these guys was ever taught how to punch, has probably never thrown a real punch, and certainly doesn't look like they've ever been hit by a real punch. So their little fake fight right off the bat, I checked all the way out. I tried to finish watching this match. I tried to pay attention, but man, all the spots looked rehearsed and fake, and they were slow and watching for each other. It was not good. When you got a ladder match out there, you are supposed to hit each other with the ladder, beat each other senseless, and these guys were just doing cheesy indie spots, and it all looked fake, and none of it looked good. At the end, some dudes came running out, the rest of his group, I guess, and beat up Jordan Devlin. And then Santos Escobar rolls right in the ring and sets up the ladder where he can clearly not even grab the ropes. And then they go up, and of course, you know, it's only been 30 seconds since he got beat up by two guys. So Devlin gets back in the ring right away, and they do a spot. Somehow, Escobar still pulls out the win. And then he goes up at the top of the ramp and celebrates with his kid. Isn't he supposed to be the heel? Like, aren't heels supposed to be, you know, dislikable and you know, how are you, like, if you're up there celebrating with your kid, your cute little 9-year-old kid, what is heel about that? How is that going to make anybody dislike you? No, that's going to make people like you. Ricky Steamboat, who's one of the biggest good guys of all time, brought his kid out because he knew it was endearing. You know, people are proud of their kids. They like to see other people proud of their kids, and kids are fucking cute. Like, what? This match was so bad, I had to stop after it. I started watching the women's tag title matches next, and I started watching it, and I realized I was still so frustrated with this first match that I was not giving the women a fair shake. So I had to take a break. I went outside, and I had a cigar and some coffee, and I had to, like, reset my palate. This match was completely opposite. All the good things I said about Pete Dunne and Kushida, and how they were perfect to start the show, hell, to start WrestleMania weekend, that match was phenomenal. This was the exact opposite of that. It was garbage. NXT Women's Tag Title match, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus Candice LeRae and Indy last name. Okay, so this match was not terrible, but it wasn't good. Candice LeRae sucks. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure I've offended a lot of people right now, but Candice LeRae is not a good wrestler. Shotzi and Ember are both pretty good. I like both of them. Indy, this is not, I guess this is not the match for me to judge whether or not she's good. I was not super impressed. I would say that, so when I'm going to critique the work in this match very quickly. I don't know how inside baseball this is, but I do a lot of inside baseball I break the fourth wall, okay? I break kayfabe on this channel. That's just what I do now. So heel heat, right? And when a heel gets heat in a match, they are controlling the match, they are beating up the good guy, and, you know, they want to get the good guy sympathy, they want the fans to see the good guy come back and get theirs. This match, pretty much the heels jump-started this match, so they kind of cut straight to the heat. But I have to add, but then at the end, they go into like 50-50 indie high spot mode. There's no reason to include a long stretch of heel heat in your match if you are then going to go into the 50-50 in the high spot stuff. It's what it is it's wrestlers who have learned a behavior, but they have not learned the reason, okay? If you're going to do 50-50 indie high spots, you can just do 50-50 indie high spots because there's going to be no need for the face to come back. You don't need sympathy. You just need to have the next cool spot and the next cool spot and the next cool spot and hope that the good guys' spots are cooler than the bad guys' spots so that the people continue to like the good guys better than the bad guys. Zero hype pet peeve. A lot of wrestlers do this. I'm not picking on the girls. They just happen to do it in this match, so it stuck out to me. When you're in a tag match and your opponent has your partner pinned, when you come in to break up that pin, break up that pin. You're supposed to knock your opponent off. You're supposed to break up the pin. You're not supposed to just run in and slap them on the back and then, oh, they fall off the pin because your slap was so devastating. You have to break up the pin. You have to knock the opponent away so that pin doesn't happen. I get so sick of seeing these weak pins, these like weak dives where it's like, oh, I'll just hit the guy, I'll hit this guy and the ref stops counting. No, break up that pin. It should look like a car crash that knocks your opponent off of your partner. Oh my goodness. Next match, Bronson Reed versus Johnny Gargano, the North American Championship. I'm pretty sure, again, that they were definitely piping in booze for Johnny Gargano because as soon as the introductions were done, the crowd was cheering for Gargano. Here again, we have this thing where wrestlers learn a behavior without learning the reason or the skill, okay? Gargano and Bronson Reed they started telling a story where Bronson Reed hurt his midsection, and so then Gargano was attacking the midsection and wearing it down. But they just did that, and it never led anywhere. It never led to anything. Never mind the fact that Bronson Reed is a big old fat guy, and you would never attack the biggest, thickest, strongest part of a powerhouse like that. You would go for a weak part. You would take the leg out of the table. You know, you don't chop the middle of the table in half. You break one of the legs. You take one of the arms out so he's working at half capacity. If you take out the leg, it's so he can't get up and walk around and use his base. I know technically, like if you attack a guy's midsection, you know, you take away that base, that foundation of the core muscles. But Bronson Reed is a great big old fat guy. So we've got Johnny Gargano, who is roughly the size of Bronson Reed's leg, you know, kicking this guy in his stomach and in his back, and, you know, it doesn't look convincing. And then they go into the same 50-50 high spots. Bronson Reed completely stops selling his ribs, and they just finish with a bunch of high spots. It was all pointless, okay? And I'm sure people think, oh, he's such a good storyteller. Look, they were doing this, and he is not. And I'm telling you why. It's because that story doesn't go anywhere. A story is supposed to carry through to the end of the match. When you tell a story through a match, the whole match is supposed to be informed by that story. You don't just work on a body part, then do some high spots, and then go and then finish the match. Like, that is not storytelling. That is bad wrestling. Alright, now we have some good stuff though. Because now we have Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor. I've been very skeptical of Karrion Kross. I don't quite buy his gimmick. Okay, you know, they do the whole thing, and, you know, Scarlett, his valet, is the angel of doom, and, you know, everything's very scary and intense, and, you know, he's this monster, and he's, you know, very Undertaker-esque, right? But then he's just a dude. Like, I don't see. He's got a great body. He's got a good size. He carries an imposing figure. But like, if I ran into him at a bar, I wouldn't be scared of him, you know? It's not like Bam Bam Bigelow. If I ran into Bam Bam Bigelow at a bar, I would not fight Bam Bam Bigelow. If I ran into Karrion Kross at a bar, he'd just be a dude. I am, however, a huge Finn Balor fan. I like his work. I've liked his character. I've liked his characters when he was Finn Balor and the Demon. I have liked his work as the Prince and a little more intense, and a little more, you know, or sometimes when he was a little cocky when he first started playing the Prince. I think Finn Balor is the best wrestler in the world today. Full stop. If you haven't seen this match, it is the other must-see match of this weekend. Go watch it. I'll wait. Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor was everything that wrestling should be. The rules were clear because it was just a regular wrestling match. We knew the rules. The stakes were clear. Both guys wanted the championship. Both guys also had the pride on the line because, you know, Finn Balor was the champion and Karrion Kross had never actually lost the championship. He had to relinquish it because of an injury. So we understand we understand the stakes, we understand the prize, and we understand the rules, okay? Boom. Perfect, easy. That's all the setup we need. Now, these guys come at this match very intensely. And they don't need to jumpstart the match. They don't need to start fighting each other. They can come into the match with intensity as a wrestling match and turn it into, you know, this kind of interplay, a chess game from the very beginning, right back and forth as both guys are trying to, you know, outdo the other a little bit. Karrion is showing how tough he is. They established that very early in the beginning. Finn Balor is able to get under his skin a little bit, and when he, you know, Finn Balor is also very tough. So, you know, when Karrion Kross kind of fires up and hurts Finn Balor, they make it very clear that Finn Balor is like, he's playing right into my game now, you know. So they tell this story, and then they tell that story the whole way through. And Finn Balor and Karrion Kross both carry their parts to perfection. You never see either of them waiting for a spot, watching the other guy for timing, you know, waiting for what happens. They are never setting up too early, or they're never setting up and then having to wait for the other guy. The spots happen naturally. They flow into each other. They even hid setting up, you know what I mean? Like, everything they did led to the next thing, and it just flowed together. You didn't see these guys planning their spots and getting ready and helping each other, embracing each other. They just went to work. They were patient. They didn't rush everything, and because they didn't rush things, everything they did landed a little bit harder and a little bit more impactful, and it felt more important. When they got to the end was, you know, you thought Finn Balor was going to win, you know, and they got in a hold and they held that hold and worked that hold, and it seemed like, you know, the unstoppable monster Karrion Kross was, now he was so hurt in this hold and he had been chopped down. Finn Balor had chopped him down, and you really bought, like, is he going to give up? Has Finn Balor won this match? And they took it to that point, and then finally Karrion Kross powers out, and the brutality of Karrion Kross is what got him his championship back. So the thing that he was known for, the character that he is, the monster that he is, comes through in the end and pulls it off. It was so good. So far, this is my favorite match of both nights. To be real honest, I don't see anybody on the main roster having a better match than this, so this is likely to be my favorite match of the weekend. Pete Dunne and Kushida, close second. Now it's time for the main event. And WWE, you can pull that co-main event stuff all you want. We know what goes on last. We know what the main event is. Fair? Tonight's main event, Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly, the big unsanctioned match. I don't mind the unsanctioned gimmick. I think that's kind of, it's kind of a neat explanation for, like, having a no-holds-barred match. Like, this is not an official match. We're not really responsible for anything. We're going to have a guy out there to count the three, but really, you guys just, you want to fight? Go fight. The other nice thing I'm going to say about this match is that I'm I probably would not be as hard on it if I hadn't just watched Karrion Kross and Finn Balor. That match was so perfect that it highlighted everything that was wrong with this match. You know, this match starts off silly. They come out, Kyle O'Reilly makes his entrance first, and they bring out security and have security line up in the ring to keep the competitors apart because they want to fight so bad. You know, we have to have security in the ring to keep them apart. Except that they line up in the ring, and Kyle O'Reilly is on the side of the ring facing the entrance ramp. So as Adam Cole is coming out, they have a face-off right there, no security, they don't fight, nothing. They just stare at each other, and then Adam Cole walks around, gets in the ring gets on the side of the ring with security, you know, separating them. How fucking difficult is that to not fuck up? You know, even Kyle O'Reilly should have realized if Adam Cole is making his entrance and Kyle O'Reilly is standing there with no security between them, you just cross through the line, nobody notices, they just think that, you know what I mean? Like, it is not this fucking hard to have just a little bit of continuity, guys. And then this match, fuck me. It was way too fucking long. First of all, way too long. I would also say that neither of these guys quite carried the intensity that the storyline was portraying, that they were trying to give this match. You know, when they got in there, it was just the same intensity that they have in every other match. These guys did not take it up a level. They had some interesting spots with some different gimmicks, some chains and stuff. None of them were spots that made any sense, okay? If you were really trying to beat somebody up, if you were really trying to hurt somebody, you would not do any of the things that they did. And you know, there was never a point where Adam Cole or Kyle O'Reilly grabbed a chair and just wailed on the guy that he supposedly hates so much. They always had to set it up some certain way, so they were going to throw him on it. They had to wrap the chain around their legs so they could, hurt him extra bad with a kick. And I get that it's wrestling and, you know, some suspension of common sense just goes into wrestling. But also, I feel like if you're telling the story that I hate this guy so much, I want to kill him, I want to hurt him. At some point, you have to drop the cute things, you have to drop the clever things, and you just say, you know what, I'm going to pound this guy until he can't get up. I'm going to hurt this guy. And they never had that. The other thing that really stood out to me about this match is that the crowd was doing all of their cute little chants. Their "This is awesome" chant, they did that 2 or 3 times. Their "Fight Forever" chant, they did that at least once. You know, they were firmly behind Adam Cole, who should have been the bad guy, right? He was the despicable one in this. But what I think that speaks to, and it's going to seem counterintuitive, but I really believe that those chants come when the crowd is losing interest in your match. Okay? And that seems counterintuitive because if they're chanting, aren't they with the match? Especially if they're chanting, "This is awesome," don't they think this match is awesome? No. They are conditioned now that after a cool spot, after a high spot, or after, you know, a certain amount of high spots, they chant, "This is awesome." They're supposed to do that. That's part of their role now, right? And what I'm going to cite as proof is the Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross match had none of that. The crowd, that match was so good, the crowd was actually invested in that match. They were actually reacting to what was happening. They weren't thinking about, "Oh, this is awesome." They weren't thinking about, "Oh, look at that cool spot." They were thinking about, who's going to win? Oh, I want Karrion Kross to win. Oh, I want Finn Balor to win. Like, they were emotionally invested in that match. And with Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, they were just watching the spots, and it had kind of become an indie match. And even though it had chairs and tables and went on for 45 minutes, it was everything that they've just seen 100 times before. You know, it was nothing that drew them in. It was nothing that invested them. And that's the great failing of modern wrestling and spot wrestling, is that we've you know, the crowd now is conditioned for these things, and then we play into that conditioning, and we never reach out and grab them. We never make that emotional connection to where they are invested in the match enough that they're not thinking about, oh, this is awesome, or, oh, I hope these guys fight forever. You know, and the fact that this main event... Hold on. Fuck me. This match also, I think beyond that, this match also lost everybody at the end. You know, by the time Adam Cole beat up Kyle O'Reilly for 20 minutes of this 40-minute match, and Kyle O'Reilly had zero fire, he had zero life, he was just getting beat up by Adam Cole. The fans seemed to completely turn on Kyle O'Reilly. They weren't getting sympathy for Kyle O'Reilly. They were just watching Adam Cole beat him to death. And, you know, that's another thing. Another example of guys learning the behavior without learning the reason or learning how to do it properly. Kyle O'Reilly was not selling properly. He was not working properly. That's why the fans did not get behind him. And then when they got to the end of the match, they just did the end of the match, and the crowd reacted because it was over. And to be fair, they like both guys, but you know, they were not invested in the match at that point. They fought up on the ramp and broke the ramp. They went through the ramp and did some other stuff outside the ring for a while. They used chairs in the chain in the end of the match, and the fans were not coming unglued by the end of that match. And you know, I just wonder. You know, there was a time in that match where the crowd slips all the way through their fingers. And guys on that level, I would expect to sense that. And I don't know how they don't fix it. You know, if they sense it and they're just like, well, just trust the process, keep doing our spots, keep doing our spots. How many times do you do that? Because this is not the only match I've ever seen that goes this way. It goes over long, does so many spots that it loses the crowd. You know, and even though the crowd reacts at the end, they are not invested in the end of that match. Crowds have a finite level, a finite amount of energy, and once you've exhausted that, you can't get it back. You know, I don't think Kyle O'Reilly or Adam Cole are bad wrestlers. I think if you take this match, cut it in half, and then put it before Karrion Kross and Finn Balor, I like this match. I think I'm having a completely different conversation then. I think I'm impressed with Kyle. I've never been a Kyle O'Reilly fan, but I think if they had done that, I would have been impressed with Kyle O'Reilly from this match. I like Adam Cole just fine anyway, but I think I would have also enjoyed this match otherwise. That's all I got on night 2 of Stand and Deliver. It was totally inferior to night 1, I thought, as a show. I definitely enjoyed night 1 more than night 2, although there's no match that I liked even nearly as much as Finn Balor and Karrion Kross. So, I don't know. I guess I wish they had just moved that match to the first night and didn't have the second night. Hopefully you're watching WrestleMania tonight. Tomorrow I will have a full review of both nights of WrestleMania, and then after that we return to the vlog as usual. I've kind of taken this week off and just been doing WrestleMania stuff. You know, normally today would have been a Legends in My Own Mind. That'll be back next week. We've still got a lot more Stephanie King, and she's great. And like I said, we return to the regular vlog next week. So